Hello, my dear students and the rest of the learners. Welcome to part 22 of a 41-part series of tutorials in Fundamentals of Object-Oriented Programming in Java. In this tutorial, we are going to look at what we call the for structure in Java. My name is MemeJM, or you can simply call me Emily Swap. When you know exactly how many times you want to loop through a block of code, you use the for loop instead of a while loop. The for statement is a convenient way to program counting loops. It can also be used to build all of the three types of loops. Anything it does could also be done with the fundamental control statements that you have already learned about in the previous presentations within this series. But for statement often says just what you want in a compact, easily understood format. Java has a for statement which combines all three aspects of a loop. It looks like this. For initialize, test the condition, then change the counter. For initialize the counter, then test the condition and change the counter. Once you've done that, you enter into the loop body. Once you initialize the counter, you test the condition. If it's evaluated true, you execute the set of statements within the loop body, and then you increment the counter, test the condition again. If it's evaluated true, you execute the statements within the loop body. You change the counter, test the condition again, enter through the loop body, execute the statements, and continue that way until the condition evaluates to false. Now, the initialize, test, and change are expressions that usually perform the named action. Initialize statement is executed one time, just once, before the execution of the code block. Once the initialization has been done and the initialization statement has been executed, the compiler does not go back to the initialization statement, but it continues checking the condition, performing an action, updating the counter, checking the condition, performing or executing the instructions, updating the counter, checking the condition, executing the set of statements within the body, and changing the counter. And that continues until when the condition evaluates to false. It is used to set a starting point. Test statement defines the condition for executing the code block. It is the end condition, same as in a while loop, and is run every round. The change statement is executed every time after the code block has been executed, while the variable change in the loop is the loop control variable. A loop control variable is an ordinary variable that is used to control the actions of a looping structure. The loop body can be a single statement or a block statement. The format for the for structure using flowchart is as follows. How do we read it? First, you set or you initialize the loop variable to a value which is usually the lowest value for counting. And then you check if the loop variable is greater than the upper limit or the maximum value. If that is not true, you execute the statements. Then increment the counter by 1 and assign the value of the results gotten to the lower limit. Check or assign the value in the lower limit to the loop variable. Then check if the value in the loop variable is greater than the value in the upper limit. If that is not true, you execute the statements in the body, you increment the counter the loop variable by 1, you assign the results gotten in the memory location called lower limit. Then assign the value in the lower limit to the loop variable. Check if the value if the loop variable is greater than the upper limit. If that is true, you exit the for loop. The following is therefore a sample program demonstrating how to implement the for statement to compute the sum of a specified number of numbers. So this is our program. It is implementing for loop to compute and display data. The name of the package is for structure. We have import java.atil.scanner, whose work we know by now. The name of our public class is for structure. And my dear students, the rest of the learners note that the name of the class is similar to the name of the structure. And then we have the method defined, the main method defined as follows: public static void main. And within it, we declare 5 variables of type integer, that is count, num scores, attempt total, maximum total, and the score, all of type integer. Then we declare an object called input of type scanner. Then you prompt the user to specify the number of scores that he or she wants to compute sum for. Then from there, within the value, through the function called next int, or using the function called next int through the object called input, and the value received is stored in the memory location called num scores. Then we assign 0. We initialize attempt total to 0. Then we initialize the counter with 1, and we check. So for counter equals to 1, that means we are initializing count to 1. So when the value of count is 1, we check the condition. Is the value in the memory location called count less than or equals to num scores? If that is true, we do the following. We prompt the user to enter score number. For example, score number 1 out of 100 marks. Then within the value, and assign the value in memory location called score. And then we add what we have gotten as a score to the current value of the memory location called attended total, and we assign the value gotten in that same memory called attended total. We then, once the compiler encounters this brace, it increments the value of counter or count with 1. So we go back to the statement, but at the end, which is count increment. So the value of counter is incremented with 1, and then we check the condition again. Is the current value of count less than or equal to num scores? If yes, we repeat this set of actions. Once we encounter this brace, we go back again. We increment the value of count. That's the last bit in this heading, which is count plus or count increment. We increment the value of counter or count, then we check the condition. Is count less than or equals to num scores? If yes, we proceed with this. And this process continues until when the value of count is no longer less than or equals to num scores, and then we exit and execute this statement here. So we pick the value in the num scores, multiply by 100, and assign the result in the memory location called maximum total, and then we display the statement together with the content of the memory locations and the num scores, attempt total, and maximum total as per this statement. And we come to the end of that program. So how can we code this program using an IDE? For example, Eclipse. So what we need to do is to start Eclipse program. If you're using any other like NetBeans, do the same. Launch your IDE. Once your IDE has loaded, you proceed and create a project for it. The question is, how do you create the project? So once your IDE has loaded, the next step that you need to take is to create your project. So how do you create a project? So you click on File menu, then point on New, and click Java, the project. Then type the name of your project. So the name of our project will be for structure. For structure. And then you click on Finish. From there, we create our class by right-clicking on For Structure, and then we click on the class. Then we give our class a name. Let's call it For Structure. So we can change it to the first letter to be uppercase. So For Structure. Then modify it public. Let's include the method for the main, and then we click on Finish. Our program is now ready. Our IDE is ready for coding. So, because we are going to request the user to enter a value through the keyboard, we can include this statement there. And then we indent our program nicely. That way, we have our main method there. We can erase that code. And then we type our set of statements here, or we just right click and paste our code here if we have already typed it using the word processor. So this is our program. And then we have our for loop here. This is our for loop structure here. Ensure you indent it nicely. And then once your program is well indented that way, you can then proceed and save it. Remember, it should only have or contain the code that is necessary or that is required. So this is our program that we have already discussed here. You can then click on File menu and save your program. Once you have done that and your program is ready, you can click on Run and then you click on Run. Our program has executed and it has no syntax errors. So the processor has displayed the message, how many scores do you want to compute? You can type, for example, 4, and then you press Enter. So this is a statement that has been executed. Then the value has been read to do this statement, meaning this activity has been done. The variable called counter has been initialized to 1. So the program will check if the value of counter is less than 4. So is 1 less than 4? Yes. So it will request or display the message, enter the score number 1 out of 100 marks. That is this statement. Once you key in a value like 34 and press enter, what will happen is this will be done, then the total will be accumulated in the 30 score, and once this braces and counted, this part of the code will be executed. The value of variable called count will be incremented with 1. So if it was 1, it now becomes 2. And then the condition is checked is 2 less than or equals to num scores. If yes, this will be done, this will be done, this will be done. And then once this is encountered, the value of count will be increased with 1. So 2 plus 1, it becomes 3. Is 3 less than 4? Yes. So This will be done. Then, once this place is counted, the value of count will be increased from 3 to 4. Then the condition will be checked. Is 4 less than or equals to 4? Yes. So this will be done. This will be done. This will be done. And then once this places the counted, the value of count will be incremented again. 4 plus 1 is 5. Is 5 less than or equals to 4? No. So the processor will exit that loop and perform this activity. Pick the value in the memory location called num scores multiplied by 100, assign the value in maximum score, and then display the message. The total for the, for example, 4 scores. Enter the S, pick what is the memory location called attain the score, display it out of, pick what is the maximum total variable, and display it max. So let's enter. So if we enter it, there's 756, next score 78, next score 23, you can see it has allowed us enter 4 values. Once you press enter, it will then display the total out of 400 marks. So my dear students and the rest of the learners, what is very important is for you to understand how the for loop works. And therefore, you can save your program and exit. And with that, my dear students and the rest of the learners, we have come to the end of part 22 of the series. You can proceed to part 23 of the series, in which you are going to look at what we call the Java nested loops. Congratulations for learning part 22 of 41 on the 4 control structure in Java in fundamentals of object-oriented programming using Java. You can access the rest of the parts in the series, as well as other computer or ICT videos, by clicking or tapping on MLSWAP ICT YouTube channel below this video. To subscribe to the channel, tap on subscribe button below this video in YouTube if it's not currently reading as subscribed. For any further correspondence, kindly write to us through the email mlswap@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening to me. Let's meet in part 23 of the series, and God bless.